Okay, then we're going to go ahead and get started. It looks like the majority of the folks have all joined, and we're sure we'll get some more that trickle in from in the coming minutes. But first of all, welcome and thank you all for joining. My name is Jeremy Bono, and I'm the sales manager for CLX, and super excited to be delivering this webinar today. It's about something that we've become very passionate about at CLX, and that's helping ECPs compete. So really the purpose of the day is to, exactly as the slide shows, just how to help show you how to use your contact lens data to beat online competition and increase practice revenue. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I'll be sharing some industry stats. I'll be pairing that with some competitive analysis to show you how CLX can help compete and win in that online marketplace. So really the payoff, the deliverable, is to give everybody on the call a good, firm understanding of the system, but also to spark your creative brains for ways to implement and improve data collection in your practice. We do have some ground rules just to get out of the way real quick. Everyone is muted on the call, and we just ask that you use the chat feature as much as you like to submit questions as they come to mind. We'll queue them up and then take time at the end to answer them. As far as the group is concerned, we do have a good mix of current users and prospects, some that are familiar with the functionality, but for those who are familiar, I really would challenge you to think of ways to make the features even more successful. And for those that are seeing it for the first time, I'd like you to start thinking about how you can imagine the system being utilized in your practices. Okay, so let's get started here. So there's a lot of ways to increase revenue. And if it was easy, then everybody'd be doing it, and everybody'd be growing at 15 to 20% net revenue every year. Despite the demographics that continually to kind of shout the opportunity of a growing market with emerging presbyopes or the daily contact lens wearers, the reality is that ECPs are reporting somewhat flat growth, while online retailers are boasting, double-digit growth and enormous profits. So if you're on the call, I guess I'm just going to make an overgeneralization, maybe an assumption, which could be a dangerous thing, but I'm going to guess that you're here because you're interested in growing your contact lens revenue, and I'm hoping to share with you just exactly where we feel that opportunity is greatest in your practice. So we hear a lot that contact lens patients are the most profitable patients in the practice. We also hear that others kind of think that contact lens patients really aren't worth focusing on because of a decreased margin. I'm going to pretend that nobody's in that second category, because otherwise you wouldn't be here today. You find some value in the contact lens side of your business and you want to improve upon it. Here's two studies to support that. We've got contact lens patients compared to eyeglass-only patients. And if you look at the value over a 6-year period of time, it's about twice for a contact lens and spectacle patient is the average value versus just spectacle only. The interesting thing here that we kind of are pulling out is that the contact lens revenue is only accounting for $660 of gross revenue. And I guess the real question is why is it so low? Is it because of compliance, or is there something else at work here? So this is a snapshot of the CLX sales in the industry. 40% of all contact lens sales are happening on the day of the exam, while 60% are happening in the form of a reorder. And just obviously looking at this pie chart, and the majority of those contact lenses are occurring after the day of the exam. This is Sarah, and we're going to focus specifically on the reorder portion of that pie chart. Sarah is going to purchase a 90-day supply in the office, and the team at the office is going to actually process that order and send it to the distributor to be fulfilled, and then 90 days later, Sarah is going to be due to reorder contact lenses. So herein lies, and during this process, really, just the key point here is the ECP and the team at the office has done a great job at maintaining the relationship. They're really building value, and that's why Sarah decided to do business with that particular office. But then comes what we call the moment of truth. When she's due to reorder, she's got options. She can either pick up the phone and call the office, or she can go into the office in person and order, or she can conveniently shop online. She conveniently shops online now Sarah's data is in the competition's database, and she's peppered continuously with other marketing material to help drive an online competitor's revenue. If the team processes the order either over the phone or in person, then that relationship's maintained, and you can continue to strengthen that as she orders more. Question is, what path is she likely to follow? So chances are Sarah's going to go online. I don't know if that's a surprise to anybody here, and here's kind of what you're up against. Online retailers are using the data that they're collecting from these online orders, and they're selling these patients' annual supply. And there's really no restriction on how much they're going to sell them or how close to the exam date. And while it's true that ECPs could really sell annual supply to help retain patient revenue, the industry average is only 20% of those patients are going to be retained. As we look down through some of the other bullet points that online is doing, we're going to see that in the ECP world that those functionalities and other bullets are not going to be as effective as what the online competition is doing. So while online is proactively targeting reorders, ECPs are finding it difficult to mine the data to get to that point where they can target market. Recall, we're stuck in the kind of in the past with pre-addressing postcards and emailing and phone. We're doing some patient communication systems, but so is the competition. They're doing a great job at measuring results, and ECPs are having to rely on expensive consultants, analytics software that cost a handsome monthly fee, or doing it manually, which then pulls into question the accuracy of it. And they're also looking to continuously improve. But then how can the ECPs really go about doing that if their data is not accurate? So it's not just 1-800 that's in the space anymore. There's startups popping up everywhere. In Q4 of 2016, there was over $10 million just on this page that was thrown into the marketplace by private equity. So it's well funded. And the question is, who's really winning that reorder business today? And Sarah, our patient from earlier, is she going to return to the practice, or is she going to go over to what we call the dark side and order from competition? Interestingly enough, just this week, Simple Contacts, you see them on the screen at the bottom. In Q4, they had $2 million, and then just this week there was a press release that went out that there was another $8 million funded for them. So knowing the calculated investment strategies that these private equity firms use, and they're very methodical, and they not risk averse, but they don't like to just throw money at anything. Question is, why are they attracted to the space? What is it that they're seeing? So let's look at the contact lens sale pie chart again. On the day of the exam, ECPs are doing great. They're collecting roughly 80% of the orders on the day of the exam. The other 20% are walking out and then ordering from online competition, big box retail, and the like. On the reorder side, only about 1 in 10 reorders are going to go back to the ECP who originally did the contact lens exam. So I don't know if that shocks anybody on the phone, but the good news here, even though it's kind of a bleak picture, is that there's great opportunity. And this is exactly why the private equity firms are interested in this space. It's because they're dominating the ECP. So what is online competition doing really well at? Well, they're doing a great job at meeting the needs of your patients by providing them with the ability to purchase the way that they want to. So they're appealing to their buying motives. Doing a great job of it. So patients are, especially today, you've got a growing millennial group, and technology is infiltrating all age groups really, and patients are used to buying pretty much anything online, sandwiches to clothes to toilet paper. So why not contacts? The competition is doing a great job at exploiting this, and they're using the modern technologies to communicate with your patients, to provide convenient and simple to use methods to get their business. They're also using more effective methods. So if we just look at texting versus calls, you get a 209% increase in response rate over a text versus a call. And here's an additional stat here that 76% of patients believe that texts are more convenient than a phone call. Patients don't want to be bothered anymore. Heck, they don't even want to pick up the phone and call you anymore. It's the harsh reality, whether we like it or not. The scary thing is that the competition isn't going to stop there. They're not just going to stay in the digital marketplace. They're going to, and here's 2 press releases from March. One for 800 is moving into a kind of a brick and mortar store along with their online presence. And then you've got Hubble, who's implementing a subscription service. So now they're really getting into our wheelhouse, which it can be extremely uncomfortable, but I feel like we've got a good solution here. So just to recap here, they're focusing on email, on text, on websites. Some of them are infiltrating into the office, but primarily the ECPs are controlling that space. Unfortunately, those methods of having the patient only walk into the office or pick up the phone are more reactive, they're less convenient, and really they're disruptive to the practice. But what if they could really easily identify the patients that are due to reorder before those patients are even thinking about going online? So that's where CLX comes in. No surprise there that CLX is the solution here, but it's going to be the tool that's going to collect all the contact lens sales data. It's going to store it in a searchable database, and then we're going to just slice it and dice it and really utilize it to its best ability to help identify patients to target, automate proactive communication, and maximize the opportunity. And the result is it's an omni-channel solution. Now you're able to offer more than what your competition is able to offer. And you can take the data, I feel like this is an important comment to make. You can take the data that you're storing and turn it into a marketing advantage. The less patients, and just be completely blunt, the less patients that order from 1-800 big box retail, Hubble, the less data they have to run their business. So it's about protecting it. So here's how it works. This will look familiar for those of you who are currently on CLX, but just in the office, the exam is going to be completed. Then the order is going to be entered in CLX System or through a practice management integration. We have several. CLX is going to gather all that data, and we're going to use it for not just reporting to identify patients due to reorder, but also to break down annual supply by office, by doctor, by team member, modalities. It's going to be real-time data. It's available at a later point in time. We're also going to forward that original order to the distributor so that the distributor can fulfill it and ship it back to the patient. So then, fast forward when the patient's actually due to reorder, you're going to get a branded text and an email. It's going to be automatically sent to them. The patient's automatically going to be opted into the program. And when the patient reorders on that system, the distributor is going to get the order. They're going to ship it back to the patient or wherever they indicated they wanted it shipped to. And then the revenue is going to be deposited of that sale into your bank of choice. So real life example here, take Sarah again, 90-day supply. So she's going to be automatically determined that she's due to run order contacts. We're going to auto send her those emails and text reminder with here's the key, an actionable link. It's not just a, hey, Sarah, you're due to reorder, call us today. We're not using the old analog channel anymore. We're using new technology. So we're saying, click here to reorder. Your team's not going to be interrupted with phone calls. And Sarah's really just going to get to a page where her prescription is going to be preloaded, and she's going to enter where she wants it shipped and how she wants to pay, and she's going to order another 90-day supply or maybe more than that, and then it's going to be shipped to her, and finally that process is going to repeat in another 90 days, or if she ordered 2 90-day supplies, it'll be in 180 days she's going to be opted into another campaign. Here's a little bit more about what it looks like. So from the office, on the very left-hand side of the screen, the email will go out to the patient, to Sarah. The text will go out to Sarah. The order now link or click the button will preload, as I said before, the patient's prescription. A complementary link for your website is also included. So for patients that we didn't have an email address on file, or that we didn't have a cell phone to send a text to, those patients can still reorder from you on your website, and we'll provide you with a link for them to order. So for those of you who are currently on the system, maybe you can relate to some of the feedback and the impact that's been shared here on this screen regarding whether it's increase in repurchase frequency or patient satisfaction, generating more revenue. But I'd like to specifically call out reducing call volume. So this was one of those kind of aha moments of an ancillary benefit to using the system. When it was brought up, we started to dig into what the cost of a phone call would be into the practice, and roughly it's about $20, but the cost of a text is negligible. It's just pennies. Go a little bit further on that. A reorder call, a patient who's going to pick up the phone and call you, interrupts not only the practice of whatever activities, the contact lens technician or the office manager or front desk is doing right then and there when the phone rings, but it also takes time away from the patients that are right in front of them, which is can be an additional cost to the the customer experience. We look here at just kind of an example of, on average, when you count up all the steps that it takes to actually place an order, you're looking at 14 minutes. Multiply that by how many reorder calls you get in a month, and it can be a significant impact on time. So we talked a lot about the industry stats, but some of you all might be kicking around, how can we get an idea of how effective this is going to be for us? And I would say use your annual supply report, whether you're using CLX currently or you're manually tracking it at your office. I'd caution using the distributor's reporting for this because it's only going to count direct ship to patient orders. But if you have an estimate, let's say it's 25%, so it's above the industry average of 20, that still means that 3 out of 4 patients are going to be due to reorder in the next year, at least once. Then you kind of fold in, how good are you doing at collecting email addresses, and how good are you doing at collecting mobile numbers, and all that plays into the final result of the impact that this is going to have and the profit that it's going to drive. Let's see here. I think that's all I had to share on this one. That same information that we're collecting in the CLX reporting database, that's all real time by doctor, by team member, and by office. We can also apply that same methodology of detailed reporting to the reorder functionality. So we're tracking clicks, and we're tracking emails and texts and dollars associated with each one of those sales. And get even more detail here in terms of what our unsubscribe rate is, or total dollars driven from the emails or versus texts, order counts, what have you. It's all available in here. And the reason why we're providing this for you is so that you don't have to do it on your own. We recognize that you don't have $1 million of budget for marketing or for an analytics team. So that's what we'd like for you to lean on us. Let us do it. Let us drill into those results and help you along. Here's some examples of how we're doing that. we're really gaining feedback and sharing that and utilizing it across the board. For instance, we're learning that in office it's even more effective for the results on these programs if the team is talking about it, or they're giving out handouts as the patients leave, and Mrs. Johnson orders a 30-day supply or 90-day supply, and before they leave, it's hey, Mrs. Johnson, thanks for coming in today. It's great to see you. You're all set for your next 90 days. Hey, be on the lookout for an email or a text when you're about to run out of your contacts. It's really easy to reorder with us now. So it kind of presets that in the patient's mind. We've also found out, timing of day in sends matters, and so we're sending at night because it's been the most successful. Multiple reminders are extremely important. It's not enough just to send them one reminder. We've got to send them several over a period of time. And finally, we've started to implement some really cool technology. Anybody on the line who's familiar with like a heat map, we're applying that to the templates that we're drawing up on the email campaigns, and we want the patients to be, when they open it for a split second, we want them to see reorder. We want them to see order now. We want them to see your brand or your logo so that they know where it's coming from, so that they know if they need to act on it. We're taking, basically, we're just taking all of this insight and sharing it back and utilizing it for best practices. So here's a recap of the functionality. We talked a lot about reorder. We touched on the store a little bit. But let's not forget about where that all starts. It all starts with the order. Especially, we're really, that's where we were built upon is our contact lens database. It's extremely accurate, and then just the process of ordering is very streamlined and simple. And then of course our management reporting side, tracking those key metrics in real time can be a huge benefit to any practice. And I don't care if you have one doc and one office and 3 team members, or you have 15 offices and 20 docs. It does not matter. Metric-driven organizations outpace the market substantially. Here's some cool kind of insight into the future. Some of you might have kind of thought, well, I wonder if they have this. And that is, if anybody's familiar with like a Walgreens or a CVS, where they're offering a kind of an auto refill, maybe it's for your blood pressure medicine, where it can be auto shipped to you when you're about to run out. That's what the team is working on right now, this we're calling auto refill. And basically it'll allow you to do the same thing with contact lenses. So patients can subscribe to a predetermined amount and have it shipped to them at their convenience, and their credit card charged on a regular cadence and basis. The other thing that we're working on is implementing a contact lens recall for exam onlys, and for exams that are expired. So a lot of great things coming in the next couple of quarters, I would say by the end of 2017. So that was a recap on the functionality. Let's just kind of breeze through the and make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the benefits. So not only are we entering into this competitive marketplace, but we're building patient loyalty. And we're doing so because we're proactive. We're not depending on the patient to pick up the phone or to come into the office to see us, to get that reorder. We're reducing the percentage of patients who are going to be stretching lenses, which has a huge impact on improving the overall health of the eye. You all know that better than I do. But we're also able to track all those contact lens sales by modality and employee and location and doctor, help manage contact lens inventory. And as we know, anything that's tracked, anything that's worth improving is worth tracking and needs to be so. So those that are focusing on annual supply and increasing that, utilizing those reports can help in that manner. And also, of course, revenue and profit. We want to, this is not just a reminder service. This is a revenue generator.